Bonjour tout le monde.
Bonjour.
Bon, ah, bravo monsieur. Ok, alors, bienvenue et bonjour aux réunions d'information. So, hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's information session. As Henry already mentioned, I will be presenting the French programs here at Links Key that we have started offering. To begin, I have a little video that I'd like to share with you.
Oh, really? Done?
Yep.
Oh, you know what?
That's okay. Continue.
You can use a clipper.
Oh, okay, this is, okay, right, I remember. Okay, alors, in this presentation, there'll be a little bit about me, course scheduling, course overview in general, both the beginner and intermediate, course assessments, how will the students be assessed during the term, course highlights for beginner, and then intermediate, and then why should you take this course here at Links Key. And then finally, we'll finish off with some questions. Okay, alors, je me présente. That means all about me. So, my students, je m'appelle Mademoiselle Brandt. Okay, my students know me as Mademoiselle Brandt. Ma. Oh là là, allô, wiki, ma. Merci, monsieur, ma. Tout le monde, ma. Non, répète, monsieur, répète, ma, den, wa, zelle. Excellent, mademoiselle. Tranquille, pas mal encore, 3 fois, mademoiselle. Ok, mademoiselle. Mademoiselle. Excellent, and then Brandt, Mademoiselle Brandt. Excellent. Okay, so my students know me as Mademoiselle Brandt. My first name is Miranda. Okay, so a little bit about me. I graduated from the University of Toronto. I studied both education, music, as well as French. During my university, I also did a 1-year exchange in France, Lyon, France, where I studied music in French as well as other French courses, and I attended a French university. And then shortly thereafter, I finished my studies and I went into teaching through the Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board, where I've been teaching for 4 years now. Currently, I am a grade 2 French immersion teacher in Brampton. Okay, on continue. Course scheduling. So, beginner courses are every Tuesday from 7 to 8:30. Intermediate is 7 to 8:30 on Wednesdays. Overview.
Yeah, right here. Come in.
So, course overview for both beginner and intermediate courses. In every single class, you can expect to be reading, writing, speaking, and listening in French for the entire hour and a half. Okay, students are expected to communicate with me in French, and they're also expected to interact with each other in French. So, English, 0, Mandarin, 0, and any other kind of language, 0. Seulement le français. Only French for that entire hour and a half. Okay, and the curriculum is tailored to each student's needs. So in general, I will teach a general, lesson, and then either there will be extensions for students who already know the material and need to be challenged a little bit more, or material will be simplified. Each course is divided into themes according to, celebrations and seasons of the year. For example, right now it's January, so we are learning sentence structures, and we are learning verbs and vocabulary, all to do with winter. And the point of that is to expand our vocabulary and to apply sentence structures in different contexts. And students are encouraged to bring their work from school and ask me any questions they wish about what they are learning in class. Okay, course assessments in both beginner and intermediate. students are required to take their own notes. Quite often I will write on the board and they copy down the notes. Weekly homework assignments. So I'll assign homework during that class, and then it is due the following week if it's not finished. And then I will, of course, correct it. In the middle of the term, around week 7, 6, 7, there is a quiz just to kind of tell me which students are really grasping the material and which students could use a little bit more support. The second last week of class, week 15, typically there will be a final exam that encompasses all material learned. And then in the last week, there will be some kind of culminating task. And then at the very end of the term, there is a report card based on the student's progress. Participation in class, homework assignments, the quiz, and as well as the final exam. Okay, let's go to the beginner class. Now, the beginner course is geared mainly towards students in grade 4 to 6. In Duffer and Peel, I think all boards really in Ontario, grade 4 is where students begin French if you follow the core French program. So the beginner course is geared towards students in the grades of 4 to 6. There's a heavy focus on speaking. So we start getting the students doing the language first, speaking. And then after they've grasped the component speaking, then we start applying it to reading and writing. It's always more fun if you can do the language rather than having to write it down first. It can be more difficult writing and reading it first rather than just being able to speak it learning to speak it right away. And there will be both, prepared readings that they'll have to do speaking, as well as on the spot. So improvisation, speaking on the spot. Focus on building and expanding vocabulary. So the everyday words that are used every day, like bonjour, bonsoir, comment ça va, je veux, j'aime, etc. Those are the vocabulary structures that I like to begin with. Just throw all of that everyday vocabulary at the students, especially at that beginner level. Again, there's a focus on basic sentence structure, primarily the present tense. So when events are happening right now in the moment. You'll see, and then again, interactions all in French, 100% French. That's from my experience, that's the only way anybody's going to learn a language, is if you are 100% immersed in the language. So that hour and a half once a week is crucial, as well as what your child is doing in school. When I was in France, my language and confidence skills went through the roof very quickly because I was thrown into an environment, a French-only environment. So that's what I want to try and do here at Linked Key during those classes. Is only French. And hey, yes. And even if it's, not full sentences, that's fine, of course. Or like, oh no, I don't know how to say a word. Well, then you can draw pictures for me. You can try to mime it any other way, but no English. Because as soon as I let English, then we start speaking more English than in French. Okay, intermediate course. It's geared mainly towards students in grades 7 to 9. Again, if a student in my class needs some extensions, needs to be further challenged, or that I am able to do that, okay? Supplement material with harder material so that the student benefits from my class. It's a continuation from the beginner level. We will briefly review the beginner just to make sure everyone is on the same playing field, and then we will move on to more advanced structures. We continue to build and expand vocabulary. Again, always reading, listening, speaking, and writing. We do cover more advanced tenses. In the beginner course, it's only the present tense. Well, in the intermediate, we cover French. In French, there are 3 past tenses, and there's a specific situation when you use each of them, so that is covered, as well as the future tense. Again, interactions, seulement en français, 100% French. Finally, why should your son or daughter take this course here at Linked Key? Well, quality French instruction from a highly passionate teacher. I love teaching French, and I love the language, I love the culture, and I hope that my excitement and my passion for the language just feeds off onto the students. Learning another language will increase job perspectives. I know from my own personal experience when I started university, our program coordinator said, you know, if you want to be able to teach full-time right out of university, you need to have French. In other words, you need to have another language. And what happened to me? I finished university, and that same year after graduation, I got a full-time position, full-time permanent teaching French. I've been out of university for 4.5 years now, and I still have teacher friends that are supply teaching or doing other things other than teaching because they didn't have the French qualification, or they didn't have another language to help support them. These courses here builds confidence in a small group setting. The curriculum, as I've described already, is tailored to student needs. Again, if I need to push students more and challenge them, or if I need to simplify some material and modify it, I am able to do that, always on a one-on-one, one-to-one. And finally, these courses prepare students for the advanced programs in high school, such as IB and AP. Okay? Alors voilà, est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Questions?
We will leave a question at the end.
Sure. Okay, merci et à bientôt. Thank you and see you soon.
Okay, so it's my turn. I'm going to talk about Mandarin. It's for you guys to learn Mandarin. 我主要说那个私校的情况哈，大家先不用看这个，我到时候我可以发给你们哈，那个我到时候我可以把这个电子版发给你们。说这个之前啊，这个很具体的内容，其实真正说这个之前，我想让大家跟我一块儿去想一下，整个这个，因为我们今天来这儿了，可能是对私校录取有一点点兴趣哈，我们去想一个什么问题呢？就是他这些学校到底想找什么样的学生，或者是说，他们整个的这个录取标准到底是什么哈？所以说到这个私校这个地方的时候，我们所谓 private school 的时候呢，其实我们再稍微往前多想一步，实际上是大学了。就那个是我们真正孩子会面对的一个最重要的第一个 milestone， 我们叫里程碑哈。那这个私校呢，可能 private school 算是一个过渡了，算是一个 stepstone。Right， 到你那个大学申请。那我们现在看大学申请，我用2句话来说哈，因为这个要说起来，可能我光这一个大学申请我能讲2个小时。那大学申请是这样，就是说，如果你看美国学校，然后你看加拿大学校哈，我们看到一个趋势是什么？就是加拿大的学校现在的录取标准越来越向美国学校的录取标准在靠拢哈。原因是什么？原因很简单。原来加拿大的学校基本上就看成绩了，而且只看11年级的成绩。最近这1-2年，因为光看成绩已经实在是筛不出来了，这样的学生太多了。我们举个例子 ，Waterloo 的 Computer Science 以前93分、94分就能上，现在97、8分你都上不了，因为97、8分的孩子很多，所以怎么办？他们就要去看其他的，看你的课外活动啊，看你的这个 social activity 啊。然后看你的 essay writing 啊，像Waterloo现在开始这个 interview 啊，所有的这些，他用这些，然后让这些孩子能够选到他们想要的孩子哈。那从这个地方我们再看美国那边，基本上是一样的道理啊。美国大概可能，如果我没有记错的话，可能2战之前，其实像哈佛这种学校也都是看成绩的，就是你成绩好，你基本上能上哈佛、耶鲁。 二战之后，因为申请的人越来越多，越来越多，所以他们那个录取标准就搞得越来越复杂。所以你现在看美国那个标准，简直是复杂的一塌糊涂。所以它不仅仅是成绩了，那更重要的就是我后面要说的这句话，就是你怎么能够让你自己在众多的竞争对手当中能够脱颖而出？你怎么能够做到你就是你，而不是别人 ？Right？ 我是 Henry， 你是 Spencer。Right, I'm not Spencer, you're not Henry. 你要有你自己的跟别人不一样的地方，所以这个东西展现出去之后，就像一幅照片一样，这是一个 picture of yourself， 那就是你，不是别人。其实私校的申请，我们沿着这个思路往回想，私校的申请是一样的。3-5年前，当我的小孩当时申请这个 UTS 的时候，基本上就是成绩了，坦白讲，然后 report card， 然后呢，当时还有老师推荐信，现在都不用了哈，现在他们不用这个推荐信了，当年还有推荐信了。那现在呢，其实他们都在做改革，包括 UTS、UCC 等等这些学校都在做所谓的 admission 的这个 update， 那改革的方向。其实我们如果看到它这个脉络的话，也蛮清楚的。其实就刚才我说那个方向，就这个孩子有什么地方能够跟其他人不一样，他有他自己的特点哈。举个例子，如果说，比如说我们说这个哈，哎，这是一个不错的一个手表，但这个手表它做的再好再精美哈，它是一个生产线上生产出来的产品。他们不希望我每一个孩子都是一个生产线上生产出来的产品，而是一个真正的是你自己的，你不是一个工艺品，而是一幅艺术品啊！这个是独一无二的，这个是大家，要基本上我觉得每个学校从现在他们整个 admission requirement 这个方向，我们看它是一个发展的趋势。那这里面有没有标准？标准还是有的，可能后面我就给大家去讲到底标准。有一些很硬的一些硬性的一些指标。我们叫 hard numbers， 比如说 SSAT 的成绩，这个你跑不了。那除了这个之外，还有哪些有一些软性的指标？我简单过一下哈。这里面这些学校啊，其实 private school 肯定是不止这几家了。那这几家最有代表性哈。当然我们不要讲他们是最好的，因为那个可能别的学校到时候就来找我了，说我们学校为什么不是最好的？我们觉得它比较有代表性啊。那比较巧合的是，这些学校都在downtown。那个前面这个是 Harvard Go， 然后呢 Branham Hall、BSS 这3所学校都是女校 ，all girls school。那 UCC 是男校，然后 UTS 是混校。哎，这个大家应该都知道了哈。然后呢，他们的这个 curriculum 呢是说 Harvard Go 是 AP 了。它是 advanced placement， 它是一个 AP program， 然后它比较这个它是 liberal arts focus， 然后呢 Branham Hall 是 IB program，BSS 是 AP program，UCC 是 IB， 然后 UTS 是 AP， 这个是基本上这个每个学校的 curriculum setup 是这样哈。application 呢是 Harvard Go 你要先做一个 online application。然后他要你跟着他的那个整个提交他所有的这个其实你跟着他的整个那个 online application， 跟着他的那个 checklist 走就行了。他让你提交这个，你要做这个，然后填这个表，你就去填他那个表就可以了哈。Branham Hall 和 BSS 也是一样。这里面唯一可能有一个跟别人不一样的就是 UTS， 它有 essay 啊，这个地方还有 essay。除了你要提交的他所要的那些文档之外，它有 essay。然后 online interview，Harvard Go 是唯一一家要做 online interview 的，就是说你提交完之后，他去给你 set up 一个 online interview，OK？ 另外那几个学校没有。然后下面这个 interview， 这是 in person interview， 这个是 in person interview， 就是说你 online interview 之后还要继续有一个 in person interview， 那这个是父母跟孩子都要参加 ，OK？ 那Branham Hall 和 BSS 基本上录取的规则差不多了，然后也是父母跟孩子都要参加，同时孩子要做一个 presentation to present your accomplishment。 哎，UCC 是孩子跟家长都要参加，孩子要在现场写一个short essay writing。哎，他基本上 UCC 的程序是这样，如果你们是男孩的话哈，就是说你进去，然后呢，他先，比如说我是招生官哈，我是 admission officer， 我会先跟爸爸妈妈先这个谈，我在跟爸爸妈妈谈的过程当中，你在旁边去写 essay， 然后我们谈完了，你的 essay 也要写完，然后我再跟你谈啊，大概是这样。然后UTS 是完全跟别人不一样 ，UTS 是最特殊的一个哈，它叫 Stage 2 Multiple Mini Interview， 是大概是5到6个这个面试的人啊，它叫5到6个 station， 大概比如说这一个房间嘛，它是一个大一点的桌子啊，或者圆桌子，不管无所谓了。然后有5、6个人坐在这个桌子上，然后你这个小孩过来，大概就是，比如说我们从这儿开始啊，这是第一个 interview， 哎，第一个 interviewer， 啊，我就坐在这儿，然后问啊，你有什么问题问我啊，大概3、5分钟，然后 move on to the second one，the third one，so on so forth。所以这个是 UTS 的 interview 情况，蛮有一点压力了，因为你走到那个房间里一看，哇塞，里面坐着6个人在那等着你。这个我们要，如果你们真的是到那个阶段的时候，我们可以帮你们做一点点培训了哈。I'll give you some mock interview。这个是 UTS 的情况哈。然后 SSAT 和 assessment 这个蛮重要的啊。刚才我们说，他们是要寻找一些比较有自己特色的孩子哈，比较 unique。然后到时候你这个孩子是怎么样一个 unique？ 但是除了这个 uniqueness 之外，其实是有一些 hard number， 比如说 SSAT 啊，那这个地方其实就是了。Harvard Go 他说是这样，如果他的官方的解释是这样，就是说如果你是住在 GTA 地区以外，他建议你最好考 SSAT。如果你住在 GTA 范围以内，你可以不考。但是你要参加他的一个 assessment in person， 就是你要去，实际上也是一个考试了，就是不是一个 SSAT 那种标准化考试，但是是他 Harvard Go 自己出题做的一个考试啊。然后Brown Hall 和 BSS 也是一样了，他对SSAT 要求，如果是90年级，如果你是 upper level SSAT， 你这个是要考的哈。然后他说。当然，他们这个官方说法都是这样。We're not to use SSAT to screen students， but they actually do。就是虽然他这么讲，但是其实还是用。然后 UCC 跟 UTS 是很明确的，就是 SSAT 是必须要有，跑不了的。那 UTS 就更严格一些，就是除了 SSAT 之外，它还有一个叫character snapshot。然后还有一个叫 entrance exam， 有2个。那这个其实没什么，这个 character snapshot 就是基本上我们叫什么性格测试啊，就性格测试。然后比如说我忘了那些题是什么，比如说突然间下雨了，你会高兴还是不高兴？反正类似这种题了，就没有什么正确答案了，就看你什么性格啊，你是那种比较活泼呢，还是什么样的一个性比较这个乐观呢，还是什么样的一个孩子？这个是性格测试，这个没关系。Entrance exam 这个会有一点点 tricky 了，就是它是基本上是数学跟英语2部分啊。今年刚刚考完了2个星期，上个星期1个星期之前，那个数学很难，很多孩子是哭着出来，然后英语部分还不错，他们好像觉得英语部分是笑着出来，然后再考完数学就哭了，这个有点 tricky 了。然后整体来讲，如果这些学校整体如果让我看，这个 UTS 可能是要求是最严的，就是各个方面它整个这个要求最多一些啊。然后很多东西你要准备的要更充分一些，包括我们刚才说那个 interview， 那个 six station， 我跟你讲，他那6个 interview， 5个 interview 或6个 interview， 他那些问题都不是很容易的。 这个到时候你们到那个地方，我到时候再给你们讲了具体的是怎么回事儿。因为他那个都是设计好的，你知道吗？那5、6个问题全是设计好的，这样等着你来。然后他其实是要考察你这个孩子是一个到底是一个什么样的一个孩子，好不好？这是大概是一个整个一个学校的一个情况介绍。申请的时间大概是这样，一般这些学校他们都是在年底的时候。大概11月中下旬、12月上旬，你要提交你的 application。所以换句话说，你最好是在10月份之前把 SSAT 搞定。如果你早一点，其实是有好处的。其实我一般会建议大家稍微早一点考了，你给你自己留一点buffer，留一点这个缓冲空间了。比如说你6月份考或者8月份考。这个，我们到时候可以查一下，这个到底考试时间是什么。如果万一考的分数不理想，你还有时间再考一次。你不要等到10月份考，真10月份考，你不理想，你都没时间再考一次，对不对？你已经顶到最后了嘛。所以大概是这样，时间表是这样。其他的一会儿我们有问题，我们再具体再问。I'm gonna hand it over to Ugor. So you're going to talk about SSAT preparation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henry. So I'm going to be talking about SAT portion. So I have been with Linky for almost a year, and I have been teaching SAT and SSAT. First thing, I'm going to jump into the slides right away. A little bit information about myself. My name is Ugur. Actually, I should write down my full name. I prefer to do that. So, Ugur is my name, and basically I have degrees in engineering and economics and masters in economics and masters in finance as well. I have been working in finance for, I would say, 12 years, and I have been teaching GMAT, GRE, SAT, SSAT, calculus, math as well. But my main basically expertise is I have been able to focus on standardized tests such as GMAT, which is for MBA, GRE for masters as well, and SAT and SSAT. On top of that, I am also the designated tutor for Ryerson University. The university sends me their students, and I have been helping students for many different subjects as well. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to basically use that experience, or I am trying to use that experience and help the students here and making sure that they are going to be able to get the score that they have been aiming for. When it comes to standardized tests, test preparation, it's not mainly about knowledge. Knowledge is the key. Of course, you need to know everything. Of course, you need to know rules in math or rules in reading comprehension or writing or language. You have to do that. But the main key, the main point is making sure that you are familiar with the concept. I have had so many different students who have been really good at school, but when it comes to tasks, they're not good at all. They panic. They don't know what to do. They don't have a plan. That's what I am trying to teach students. I keep repeating myself all the time, and maybe they will get tired of it, but you need to make sure that you are organized. I always tell them one thing: you need to think like an engineer. You need to have a plan, an action plan. I'll do this. I need to do this. I need to do that. If I have a problem, how can I fix it? What's your action plan? So you need to have a list of the action plans, and then you move on. That's how you make progress. So now, let's take a look at the test format. So for SSAT, you have a verbal section, quant section, reading, writing sample, and experimental section as well. So for verbal, you have 30 minutes, which is 30 synonym questions and 30 analogy. Most of the time, students have a very tough time with verbal section. So what I do is, for verbal, I give them a list of the words that they need to be familiar with. And we review those words on a regular basis. And what I always suggest is the fact that when you read something, a passage, a paragraph, an article that you enjoy, a book, you see something, a word that you are not familiar with, write it down, keep a notepad, review it every day. You are on your way to school, in the car, take a look at it. You are waiting for your dinner, take a look at it. It takes only 10-15 minutes. These are the small things that you need to consider, but they help you a lot. Then we have quant section, which is basically math. With math section, you either know the rules or you don't. That's very straightforward. So you need to make sure that you are familiar with the rules first, and then you apply those rules. You practice, you determine what questions you are, or what areas you are struggling with. Then you focus on them on a regular basis. It is all about repetition. So you are going to prepare yourself or teach yourself all the subjects until the time you feel 100% comfortable. So if without reaching that level, I recommend my students not to move to another subject. Focus on one thing at a time. So reading section, for reading what we will be doing is we are going to be going through passages, and my methodology for reading section is summarizing each paragraph individually and discuss it in the class. So that way, when students interact with each other, they are able to learn more from each other as well. So I tell my students, if you guys live close, if you are neighbors, why don't you get together and study together? This is a suggestion. They might like it, maybe not, but at least it might be helpful. Another one is writing sample. So with the writing sample essays, so with the essay, what they are looking for is, the main thing is the structure. So you need to make sure that you have the structure. The structure is, you need to make sure you have the introduction, first supporting point, second supporting point, and the conclusion. As long as you have that, you will be able to get a very reasonable mark. And then on top of that, you need to make sure that you are able to use the terms which are related to subjects. You are able to express yourself properly. But the main idea is making sure that you have the structure. So we will be focusing on that during our writing sections. So now let's take a look at some sample questions just to make sure that you are familiar what to expect. So sample topics, for example, you are going like for writing. So you need to make sure that you will be able to focus on grammar and write everything properly. Another one is quant section. So let's take a look at this question. For example, in a class of 25 students, 8 received grade A on a math quiz. What percent of the students did not receive an A? So they are always going to be, like, this is a very simple example. I'm not bringing this up just to test anyone, but I'm just trying to make a point here. When you look at an example or a question, they are given one information, but they are asking you to find the opposite information. This many people got this grade, how many did not? So students get confused. They always take a look at how many got A, for example. So this shows that you need to read the questions carefully. You need to understand the question 100%. That's the key. Before that, you won't be able to answer anything. Reading comprehension, you need to make sure that you will be able to understand the passages, the main ideas. You won't be able to understand every single word. Or there will be small words here and there that you will get confused with. That's fine. There is nothing wrong with that. It happens to everyone. But the main goal is making sure that using the strategies that I will be teaching, you will be able to get the main point of the passage or main point of the paragraph. That's what we are trying to achieve. Verbal section. This is going to be the most challenging section. So the verbal section is synonyms, analogies. So we will have a list of the words which are very common in the test. So we will be going through that all the time. Another thing that I prepare my students is the fact that there are certain prefixes and suffixes which change the meaning of the words in a specific way. So I give them that list as well, and we go through them all the time. The way I handle this issue or this section is, first, I'll be starting with reading section. Then I'll be doing verbal. And then I'll be moving to math section. But what I do is, when I start my sessions, I spend 15 minutes for verbal in every section. Because I want to make sure that students realize that will be the most challenging and they should be focusing on that as much as possible. So I keep repeating myself. And they get used to it and they like it. It works. Now, experimental is going to be basically 6 verbal, 5 reading, and 5 quantitative. So it's going to be very straightforward. It's based on all those sections that we have discussed. So you need to make sure that you are ready, you are well prepared with all the sections I mentioned, and then you can move to this experimental section as well. Now, SSAT middle level scores. I just wanted to have this slide just to give you an idea what score to expect. So for example, if you take a look at math section, you will see that, if you make 50 questions, if you get everything right, you get 710. 710, 710. So in each section, you can get the highest score you can get is 710. Multiply by 3, 2130. So at the middle level, the highest score you can get is 2130. And then based on this list, you can kind of have an idea where you are standing. When you take a test, or when your sons or when your daughters take a test, you can also check that out, and that will give you an indication. Now, this is for upper level. For upper level, the score is a little bit different. The scaling is a little bit different. If you take a look at it, see the highest score here is 800, 800, 800, so 2400. So upper level will be based on the highest is 2400, mid-level is 2130. So that's a starting point. You need to make sure that first you have all the necessary information about the test, what score you are aiming, where you are standing. That's how you are going to get ready. And then our methodology. As I briefly mentioned, so my main methodology is clear review of concepts. So I always treat my students as if they don't know anything. So I teach everyone. Based on their responses, during my classes, I always make sure that they are interacting, they are participating. I ask them random questions. Based on the answers, I can evaluate the level of the students, each student and the class as well. So based on those evaluations, I make small adjustments every week. Class discussions and homeworks. I give them homeworks on a regular basis. And I make sure that they follow and they keep a track on that. Now, I am also thinking about having a session for questions and concerns on Thursdays. So we could do that on Skype or on WeChat, which we have done with Henry in the past, which was really successful. Students really loved it. And then practice tests. Last time, we did have some practice tests, and it was very helpful. So I'm thinking about having this term as well. So what we will do is we will have some mock exams. So probably at the beginning of the sessions, after like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, we might have one mock exam. And then there will be another one close to the end of the session. So that way we can kind of see what progress we have made. And you guys as parents, you guys can also be aware what's going on with your sons or your daughters' overall practice. Now, as I mentioned, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be spending 32 hours. So the structure is going to be, I am going to be spending 10 hours on reading, 10 hours on verbal, 8 hours on math, and 4 hours on essay. But again, as I mentioned, I don't just focus on one thing, let's say reading section, and then I move on. I always practice. I always ask certain questions. If I notice that there is a specific area in either section that the students are struggling with, then what I do is I focus on that part for 15-20 minutes every time, whenever we have sessions. So that way, I do that until the time they all feel comfortable. Another thing we are going to be doing is basically we are going to be discussing or talking about a little bit about feedback and success rates. So we have been doing that. We have been offering SAT and SSAT. This is our third term. Actually, we have done it for third. This is going to be fourth. And the feedback we have received is very encouraging. Students have been very happy with the results and the progress as well. During last session, we had 2 students who got above 2100 SSAT mid-level. The highest score is 2130. So they were very close to the perfect score. And we have more students who are expected to write the test soon, so we are going to be keeping in touch and basically monitor their progress as well. And as I said, we have been receiving great feedback from current students, and that is what has been encouraging us to offer more sessions. Now, course material. For the course material, I'll be following Barron's book, which is here. And I'm always asking my students to purchase the book before the session, so that way they can follow all the things I am doing in the class. Now, I am not following the book all the time, but at least I want students to have a guide. This is a very good guide. Like, I want them to be structured. I don't want them to be going home and getting confused what to do. So I'm gonna tell them, okay, this is the book you need to follow. Follow it as a guide. Make sure you identify where you are struggling with, what parts you are struggling with, and let me know. So that's going to be the key. And now we are going to mention a little bit about tips and plan for SSAT test. So the first thing is you need to prepare well in advance. Understand the material fully. So students need to be honest with themselves. Like, as a teacher, I see them in the class and I can notice whether they are making progress or not. But when they have certain problems with certain subjects, they need to let me know. If they don't, I wouldn't know what struggle they are going through. So I always encourage them to ask me questions. Now, you need to solve enough questions to make sure you are comfortable with SSAT style. Practice is the key. Like as I said, SSAT test or SAT test is not mainly about knowledge. It's about practice. It's about how familiar you are. You have to make sure that you know what to expect. Discuss your questions and concerns with your tutor. As I mentioned, I am always open to questions. Meet your tutor on Thursdays for a review and question session. So I'm going to have it this term as well. On Thursdays, we will have a Skype session or maybe WeChat, so you can ask me any questions. Practice regularly. This is the key. This is extremely important. So what happens is, the most important part is, for example, let's say you are struggling, a student is struggling with a certain subject. So they practice, they are good. And if they move on, they will forget everything. You need to make sure that you solve at least 1 or 2 questions for each different subject. It doesn't take too long, 1 or 2 questions. But at least it will make sure that you keep your knowledge fresh. You don't forget. So the biggest mistake students do is they understand one thing, then they move on to another subject, so they don't touch the first subject that they understood for next 2 weeks, and they forget. And then they ask themselves, I have been studying 4 or 5 hours a day, but I didn't get the score I want. Why? Because you didn't plan well. The planning is the key. Now take time tests. Now, during the class, during our sessions, we will be solving questions. We will be basically, I time students as well. I give them certain times. Like I tell them, okay, I'm giving you these 3 questions. You have 3 minutes. So you have to finish in 3 minutes. If you cannot, then you need to let me know what the issue is. So they need to do that at home as well. They need to practice all the time. That is the key. Identify your weak subjects. So you are having your sessions, you are asking me questions, and you are telling me that you are struggling with certain subjects. And I tell you, okay, you know what, you need to follow this, and you need to do that, and you need to practice. So then, what you are going to do is, based on that, you are going to determine what your weakness is. You're going to come back and say, listen, I tried this, you told me to do this and that, I tried, but I'm still having a problem with this subject. So can you tell me what to do next? So this is the key. You need to make sure you are being honest with yourself. Stay calm. Now, this is also another thing. Now, as we all know, students are not used to test style very much. I studied in Turkey. I'm from Turkey, by the way. I did my engineering degree in Turkey, and as a part of our education system, when I was in Turkey, probably I wrote 25, 30 tests. So when I came to Canada, I was already familiar with the test style. So like compared to, I did study here as well, I was always the first one finishing exams at the university because I was so ready for that, because that's the education system we had. So unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not sure, every system is different in every country, but test system is not that common here. So we need to make sure that your kids are ready for that. They are familiar with that. So some students, they are very good and they know like most of the material, but when it comes to tests, because of time pressure, they panic. That is something completely separate that you need to deal with. It has nothing to do with knowledge. It has nothing to do with your studying. It has something to do with the fact that you are not ready for tests. So that's also another key. So my main point is, the whole reason why I have these slides is I'm trying to show you that it is all about having a plan, identifying your weaknesses, and focusing each one individually. That's how you are going to make progress. Otherwise, you will keep doing the same thing over and over, and you won't be able to get the score you want. Now, exam information. So basically, in order to find a test center, you can definitely Google that, but that is basically SSAT.org. You can take a look at it. Now, on the test day, just as some information, we recommend always just 2 pencils, a good eraser, and your SSAT admission ticket. So you have to be careful with that one. If you don't have it, you won't be able to write your exam. They are very strict about it. Exam days, most of the time test starts usually 9 a.m. You should be able to arrive at least 45 minutes earlier. And the total time is 3 hours and 5 minutes, so with 2 short breaks. So these are the main points that I wanted to mention, and if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.
You want to talk, other than this, just really quickly, just so we have our own SSAT.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned actually.
You want to quickly go through this, maybe
Now, another thing is, as I said, we have been offering SSAT sessions for, we had 3 different sessions. It has been a year. So based on my experience and based on my knowledge and my interaction with our students, I came up with a manual or a guide, just to give students an idea what to do. So for example, reading comprehension. The main points, nothing complicated, nothing too detailed, simple to the point. Keep it short and to the point. That's the key. Okay, these are the steps. I basically write this down in every session, and I ask my students to follow this. So you need to, for example, you read quickly, you pay attention to the language, read critically, summarize each paragraph individually. I repeat this and I ask them to follow this. I want them to basically be familiar with this 100%. So when they see a passage, this should be in their mind right away. That's what I'm trying to achieve. That's why I simplified this, and I provided my students in the last session, and they all loved it. So if we, for example, if we just go through a little bit, I can change like this, right? Yeah. So what is different type of questions I'm mentioning? Vocabulary. So these are the keywords I came up with. So I checked different books. I looked at internet, and I basically combined all these different prefixes, suffixes, and different words, just to help my students as much as possible. Here you go. So there are different types of words. And that's pretty much all. This is very useful, actually. The last session, the students love this.
Good. Just really quickly, I'll try to highlight this just in a minute. 基本上就是 SSAT， 它是两个哈。刚才有一个问题，我刚才忘了说了哈，现在说哈，就是年龄的问题。就它两个 SSAT， 一个叫 middle level， 一个叫 upper level 啊，还有一个叫 low level， 那个是给5年级的，就5年级入学。实际上你这个小孩现在应该是3年级，那个是 low level， 那个不管了。我们应该是没有我们的学生是那个年龄哈。那如果你是想要去申请所有的我们所谓的 private school， 基本上它有2个 major admission， 一个是7年级，一个是9年级，就这么2个哈。那有没有6年级？有没有10年级？有，但是非常非常少。它那个不是它的 major admission， 它6年级跟10年级收孩子呢，基本上是因为有现有的学生 drop out， 所以它需要有新的学生去 fill in。啊，基本上是这样，但是它不是固定的收哈，那基本上就是7年级、9年级了。那如果是7年级 admission， 那什么意思？是说你现在的小孩是5年级，我说你今天是5年级，你要准备7年级的申请了，因为你现在是5年级，你9月份开学就是6年级，对不对？那你11月份申请的时候，你就是6年级。实际上你是申请明年9月份入学，就是7年级嘛。哎，如果你是申请9年级录取，那你现在是7年级，往前减2就对了，减2啊。所以你们自己去算这个年龄了。成绩是这样，如果是 middle level， 它的满分是2130分，刚才乌果讲了 ，right？ 那每一个 section。它的满分是710，就710分哈，然后有3个 section，right？ Reading， vocabulary and math，right？ 那个乘以3就是2130哈。我们上一个班有2个学生考到一个是 we got 2 students 2100 and 2110， another one， 非常厉害了，基本接近满分了。就这2个学生很厉害，然后2000分以上的我们有好几个，就是2000分到2100之间的有好几个啊，很多。我一会儿再说那个，然后如果是 upper level， 它的满分是2400分，啊，这大概是这样，啊，你们有什么问题现在可以随时问了，我也好，乌果也好 ，Miranda 也好。When you try to compare the education system in Turkey and Canada, Miranda doesn't seem to agree with you.